The moment Ethan Cole stepped through the glass doors of his mansion, the sound that reached him made his heart stop. Soft singing, laughter, and 4 tiny voices echoing a lullaby he hadn't heard since childhood. He froze at the edge of the nursery. The black maid, Grace, sat on the floor surrounded by his quadruplets, 2 boys. 2 girls each with a crayon-stained hand and a wild grin. She was humming a song Ethan's late mother used to sing, the same one he'd sworn he'd never hear again. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. Grace didn't notice him. She was too busy tying small ribbons in the girls' hair while rocking one of the boys gently on her lap. "Now, what do we say when someone feels sad?" she whispered. The smallest twin piped up. "We hug them." Grace smiled. "That's right, sweetheart." Ethan's throat tightened. No one was supposed to be in his home this early. He had left for the office 2 hours ago after telling his staff he wouldn't return until evening, but a cancelled meeting had brought him back, and now, standing there, he wasn't sure if what he was seeing filled him with anger or something else entirely. He took a slow step forward. The floor creaked. Grace turned and froze. "Mr. Cole," she gasped, rising quickly, almost tripping over a toy truck. I didn't know you were back." Ethan's gaze flicked to the children. They'd gone silent, watching the scene with wide eyes. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice calm but sharp. "Why are my children on the floor instead of in bed?" Grace swallowed hard. "They had a nightmare," she said softly. "All 4 of them woke up crying. I was just trying to calm them down." He stepped closer. "With that song," her eyes dropped, "it helps them sleep." He hesitated. "Where did you hear that lullaby?" Grace's fingers trembled slightly. "My grandmother used to sing it to me," she said. "She learned it from the woman she worked for years ago." Ethan blinked. "What woman?" Grace looked up, uncertain. She said her name was Martha. Martha Cole. The name hit him like thunder. His mother. The room seemed to shrink around him. Grace noticed his expression change and stepped back. "I'm sorry if I overstepped, sir. I didn't mean." Ethan raised a hand, cutting her off. "You said your grandmother worked for my mother." "Yes, sir," she whispered. "Back when your family still lived on Greenfield Estate. My grandmother, Lillian James, was her housekeeper for almost 10 years. He remembered Belly, a warm woman with kind eyes who used to sneak him cookies when his mother wasn't looking. "You're Lillian's granddaughter?" he asked quietly. Grace nodded. "Yes, sir." The twins broke the silence. "Daddy, Miss Grace made us pancakes. She says we can share with her tomorrow." One of them chirped. Grace's cheeks flushed. "They insisted, sir." "I didn't." But Ethan wasn't listening. His gaze drifted to the framed photograph on the nursery shelf. His mother, smiling, holding him as a baby. For the first time in years, the image didn't feel distant. It felt alive again, because that same song, that same kindness, was somehow still in this house. He turned toward Grace. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" She looked startled. "Because it didn't matter, sir. I was just here to work." Her humility cut through him like a knife. He'd hired dozens of people, but none had spoken like that, soft, steady, without bitterness or pride. He studied her face more closely now, the gentle confidence, the patience in her eyes. When one of the children tugged her sleeve, she reminded him of his mother in ways he couldn't explain. Ethan exhaled slowly. "You may continue," he said finally. "I didn't mean to interrupt." Grace looked unsure. "Are you sure, sir?" He nodded and stepped aside, leaning quietly against the doorframe. She sat back down, gathering the children. "All right, my little stars," she said with a small smile. "Where did we leave off?" "After the rainbow part," one of the girls said. Grace nodded, humming again, her voice low and warm. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, listening. For years, he'd filled his life with meetings, numbers, and contracts. Anything to drown out the silence that had followed his mother's death. But now that silence was being replaced by something he'd forgotten how to feel. When the song ended, the children were asleep, curled against her arms. Grace gently laid them in their cribs. She brushed a strand of hair from one girl's face and whispered, "Sweet dreams, angels." Ethan's voice broke the stillness. "How long have you been with us?" 6 months, she said. "I came through the agency after your last nanny left." He nodded slowly. "And in those 6 months, you've done more for them than anyone else ever has." She looked down. "They're good kids, sir. Just need love and a little patience." Ethan smiled faintly. "You sound like my mother." Grace's eyes softened. "Maybe she taught us both the same thing." He looked at her, really looked at her this time. "She did," he said quietly. "She taught me that family isn't just who you're born to, who shows up when you need them." Grace blinked, holding back emotion. "That's a beautiful lesson, sir." He nodded. "And I think it's time I start living by it." The next morning, the staff found a new framed photo in the nursery. It showed Grace seated with all of them laughing, surrounded by crayons and toys. Below it, A small plaque read for Grace, who brought love back into this house. When reporters later asked Ethan Cole why he'd promoted his maid to full-time caregiver and family assistant, he simply smiled. Because sometimes, he said, the people who serve us end up saving us. Grace never stopped humming that lullaby, and every night, 4 little voices joined in proof that love doesn't ask about color or class. It just finds a way home. Love isn't about status or blood. It's about who stays when everyone else walks away.